if you can't compete against the biggest dogs in the room and you're going after only the lowest hanging fruit that everybody else can, you're probably pissing off way more people than you're getting interested. Now, let's start in to audiences on Facebook. Now, there are a lot of choices when it comes to audiences on Facebook. Now, factually speaking, the only audience you probably really need is broad. Broad is age, gender, and location. So every type of audience you use on Facebook, you actually have to pay extra to reach out to them. Now, there's a lot of folks that'll say, well, what about interest groups? I get some good results with interest groups. Sure, but there are three big reasons why interest groups are actually a really bad idea. Number one, about 30 to 40% of the people in that interest group shouldn't be. It was just a mistake. The interest group technology hasn't really been updated for 5 or 6 years. Second, you can be in an interest group whether or not you feel positively about something. So have you ever gone to a restaurant and didn't really like the food and then you told people about it? According to Facebook, you're interested in that restaurant. Think of all the things that you don't like that you see ads for and you're like, why am I getting targeted with this? Because you talked about it and somebody else is using an interest group to show it to you. So 2/3 of every dollar basically kind of wasted if we think maybe half the people in an audience are feeling negatively about something. If 1/3 doesn't care and of the remaining 2/3, at least half of them don't like it. The other thing that's a real big concern when it comes to interest groups is one, they're more expensive. Two, they heavily limit where your ad could go because ads do the targeting. Your ad actually defines your audience because Facebook's business model is to show content to people that want to see it. So when you pay extra to restrict who can see your ad, you're actually making long-term success more difficult. Lastly, you might build a castle on sand with an interest group, wake up tomorrow and it's gone. Facebook is getting rid of interest groups by the thousands on a regular basis because Facebook has been trying to get people to stop using interest groups for years. Interest groups were invented to bring over Google advertisers 10 years ago in 2012. Now I've got a lot more videos on the channel. You can check out way more of that stuff. Why interest groups are trash. You should absolutely not be using them. But let's also dive into a few more things. Lookalike audiences. Now a lot of people will say, well, you can just make a lookalike of something. Here's the problem. You probably don't have enough data to really make a good lookalike. Do you have thousands and thousands and thousands of purchasers that you can make a lookalike audience? If you do, you probably don't even need a lookalike audience because you've already moved to just running at broad and you've gotten over all the get rich quick nonsense. The other problem with lookalike audiences, as well as for what it's worth, bid caps, manual bid, cost cap, stuff like that, is that they take your existing data set and then of those people, they find the best folks within them to try to sell to. Now here's the problem. When you are trying to only show ads to the best people that you already know, you're not meeting very many new people. And yes, a lookalike can do prospecting for you, but how much of that money do you think is actually going to some net new person, especially when you don't have a good data set to begin with? Especially when you're paying extra to reach them. And especially when there's a lot of other people advertising to them, so your ad's getting lost in the mix, probably losing to other advertisers with better ads. And ultimately, if you can't compete against the biggest dogs in the room and you're going after only the lowest hanging fruit that everybody else can, you're probably pissing off way more people than you're getting interested, which means the next time you try to run an ad, your CPMs go up. If your CPMs are over $20, $30, $40, $50, lookalikes and bid caps are part of the reason that's happening. There's another video on the YouTube. You can check that out on the channel. I'm not here to try to double all the information, but go check it out. It's bid caps and lookalikes, the truth behind all of them. Great video, 10 minutes long with an article and a bunch of text right here on the screen. So you'll really like that video, I think. That being said, the last real part of audiences that is really popular and, you know, isn't necessarily a bad thing is that people are really, really interested in using retargeting. Now, retargeting can be a bit of a sticky wicket, as it were. So let me tell you this. First off, every single impression your ad delivers is a retargeting impression. If it's $1 number one on a brand new page, for a brand new store, on a brand new ad account, your first impression is a retargeting one. Why? Because Facebook knows who wants to see your content based off of that user's behavior. You've probably had a Facebook account for 5 years, 10 years, maybe 15 years. You've told Facebook what you wanted to see. You've told Facebook what you respond positively to. Now, if we want to extrapolate that out much further, we can say this. You are going to be shown content that you want to see based off of all the other content that you've liked. Have you ever noticed when you go to buy a pair of sneakers, you constantly get followed around by ads from a bunch of sneaker companies that you've never seen, but they're retargeting you based off of your behavior? Because Facebook's business objective is to keep people on the platform and give them an experience that they want to see. So with that being said, even at broad, even with age, gender, and location, Facebook's primary objective is just to show people content that they want to see. So basically with broad, age, gender, and location, you are paying the least amount of money to give Facebook the most amount of control to show your ad to the most amount of people that want to see it regardless of where they are and anywhere in anybody else's funnel, which allows you to retarget all of your competitors and pay way less to retarget your own users. Because ultimately, who do you think wants to see your ad? Somebody that has never heard of sneakers before? Or somebody that just abandoned cart on Nike, New Balance, and Reebok in the last 24 hours? Or somebody that was at your store earlier today? Broad will do that for you. Once you start getting into the idea of retargeting and breaking down to much smaller audiences, you can really start to inhibit the ability for your brand to grow because you're investing much more money than you should at a much higher cost than you should to focus your ads so people that would already see them anyway. If you notice, your CPMs on retargeting audiences can be 2 or 3 or 5 times as much as they would on broad. And when you start forcing really bad experiences on people because you're just smashing an ad against them and they don't want to see it, Facebook sees you as a liability to their business model. So all of your costs of advertising across your entire account goes up. Again, if your CPMs are over $20, $30, $40 and you're doing retargeting, that's probably why, or at least a pretty good piece. YouTube thinks you might like some of these things over here, and don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you on the internet.